ENDEMIC, they have to consider taking away these battlegrounds. Tempo Storm, the kills look great. It's 15-1. But they did not win that game through team fights. They gave themselves a monster lead in every way except team fights. They just, it was like puppetry, where they're like, well, we're going to go this way, and you have to respond. And then we're going to go this way, and you have to respond. And every time you're there too late. The push down the middle, that didn't have to happen, but they knew they had the ALEXSTRAZZA during that first Punisher for ENDEMIC. They went down the mid. They felt that they needed to get back some of that experience that they were losing elsewhere on the map, and then they got punished for it. And Tempo Storm controlled the early game, and then the minute they got the lead in the early game, they controlled it the rest of the way, and there was absolutely nothing that ENDEMIC could do that seemed like enough outside of the Punisher almost taking down that keep, 246 health.
Oh, well, they got the keep in the end, but the pressure to get that was especially problematic. My concern, though, is ENDEMIC are going to do it. They're going to go to second pick, and they will choose the battleground, but I'm going to read to you the list of Phase 2 overlapping favored battlegrounds between the two of these teams. Dragonshire, Cursed Hollow, Infernal Shrines, Towers of Doom. Pretty much every map that these two teams pick, the other team picks it too, which is a problem. For ENDEMIC, the one map that doesn't overlap, that they have been willing to pick, with Tempo Storm is Sky Temple, and Tempo's been banning Sky Temple versus pretty much everybody here, unless they're just a known not Sky Temple team. And ENDEMIC's ban has generally been full Sky Foundry. That has not been a pick for Tempo, though we know Tempo Storm in the past has liked to play there. I think that this is them showing that they know they need to change the thing up, and maybe this will be enough to give them that win, but it's not like it's an unfamiliar place for Tempo Storm, not by any means.
They had some crazy drafts in the early part of the year that they made use of on Towers of Doom. They adapted, they reformulated, and they came back even stronger. After bringing out the Zeratul last game, you have to contemplate, is the Zeratul a threat again? Because this is another very good Zeratul map. Fan, as good as he is on Zeratul, he's just as good, if not better, on Abathur. And this is another Abathur map. And you can complement styles like that. We could also see Tassadar style compositions where we have seen Hyper Carry with Tass Vala, Tass Tracer. Any number of those combinations could come out here against ENDEMIC. And ENDEMIC, they have to figure out, is Phoenix still the answer to bring that firepower back? And we're going to find out. Yrel obviously was sitting at the top of the pick list last time, still favorable here, but you can forgo that for something like Dahaka if you choose to change it up.
Well, ENDEMIC always bans Abathur on Towers of Doom, so that shouldn't be the pick for Fan unless they are willing to let that through because they have a pick that's so necessary that they're willing to give that up and think that they can deal with it. But Dahaka seems a very likely either choice of ban if we see the Abathur ban too, or an early pickup for both of these teams. The solo laner and support has often been what ENDEMIC has picked early. Hanzo too is a favor, but dropping later and later. Li Ming, because of Biggie and the impact he has on his mages, though it was hard for him to get resets when he played it last in this series.
Not even willing to let Genji through. Biggie does do very well on Genji. Yrel, so threatening in that last game, will warrant a first ban here.
That's often been what Tempo's been banning, so now they don't have to worry about that one. But if ENDEMIC, it comes down to Yrel or Abathur, they don't want to deal with both of them. I don't think Tempo will ban Abathur here. No, they will be the ones to ban it. I thought for sure they would want it, but they'll ban it anyway. Does ENDEMIC ban Dahaka?
This is tense to think about. We saw the Diablo ban previously.
It's a good Tracer map. We just haven't had very much Tracer at all.
Sergeant Hammer, which means that Tracer, Diablo, Muradin, Phoenix, RAYNOR, all power picks will be available in the early part of this draft.
So what's worthy of the first pick for Tempo? Phoenix.
He's up there. He is sky high
He destroyed last game. It was so good.
The problem now is if you're endemic, are you willing to play a Diablo? If not, you can expect a Diablo will be coming out from Cattle.
Diablo's not your only problem. Thrall too.
Thrall in the that's the thing for Tempo Storm is they will be willing to commit to a Thrall early enough in the draft. So RAYNOR Blaze. Diablo seems extremely likely, but Blaze picked up perhaps in anticipation of that. So Salvo and the Lightning Breath come out. You at least have a place to hide momentarily. RAYNOR also has armor at 4 and self-healing.
Dahaka Diablo. Want to make sure that they get Dahaka. So they may leave themselves with a Thrall ban, but Lightning Breath is enough to set up a salvo.
Yeah. But if you don't ban Thrall, who is more impactful for Tempo Storm? You can look at supports if you want to take one away from them. If you want to take Deckard or Malf, you can get rid of the other one. You know, we actually saw a very good use of Ice Block yesterday by Buds. Some of the timing that he had, the Thrall will be there. But Buds was so quick with his Ice Block that he wasn't even targeted by the salvo. And I thought that was very impressive because doing it over and over again in such a short window, obviously he's a professional, he's expected to be very quick with his fingers and very quick thinking. But that was a use. No Dane Schema D.
A lot of respect there. Plus, if Tempo Storm are looking to get guaranteed kills, Force of Will is a great way to stop that from happening. Murden still up for B-Kid. Could leave it till later if he really wanted to. Probably support here for sure, though. What's Michael Udall going to be on? Johanna and Malfurion. Have the blinds for the Phoenix. Also just a lot of safety. You can Iron Skin if that combo comes in from Phoenix Diablo. We'll add a little fire to the mix with ALEXSTRASZA. And lastly, Zeratul returns.
Back in saying that Phoenix is enough damage. Do you need Hanzo for vision? Do you need somebody that can survive a potential dive from Zeratul? Just going down the rabbit hole for Endemic. You could look at another melee.
I'm pretty scared for this RAYNOR and Malfurion to live.
You could always go Tassadar.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Endemic does not feel like a Tassadar team. I guess Dansky's played some Tassadar before. Nobody's played him so far this phase.
So the one thing that Greymane and RAYNOR both do that can survive this is that Greymane has a naturally high health pool for a ranged assassin, but also when he's in Worgen form does get 10 armor. RAYNOR at level 4 can pick up his fight or flight, get the 25 armor, plus get the self-heal, the cooldown reduction to survive some of those onslaughts from that salvo that could come out there. They have the bunker that's going to be there. The support of Malfurion, again, post 13 does have Ice Block. If you can proc that quick enough, you don't get targeted by salvo. And it gives you options to survive, and Tranquility can heal through them. It's just a matter of fans' VPs were very well placed last game.
Yeah, there may not be a mosh pit behind this, but you could bet your bottom dollars you're going to have the Lightning Breath and the Purification Salvo set up perfectly by those VPs. If Endemic funnels at all into chokes, there is a Blaze with a bunker. If they go into that bunker, then Zeratul is going to be keeping eyes on who and how people leave and exit that bunker, using the confusion and chaos from that to maybe be able to VP some people from that too. This is it for Endemic. They must win this game to go to the Western Clash. Of course, must win this game to keep the series going to game 5-2. And if Tempo wins this, they'll close out the series and get Octalysis at the Western Clash.
You know those guys on Octalysis, they are watching this and they are rooting for Tempo Storm to win so hard. I mean, this feels like we're at the end. Just the implications. ENDEMIC, this roster that has come together, they've looked strong, but they are facing Tempo Storm, who still, despite their defeat against Heroes Hearth, is still one of the best teams in the Western Division, not just in North America. I think everybody respects them.
And anytime people start to question that, that's when Tempo Storm fires back even stronger. As we've seen in this series, they lost the first game, but ever since then, some incredible shot calling, incredible plays from this 5-man roster.
If you are ENDEMIC, between a Jim Raynor and a Greymane and a JOHANNA, your early game threat and kill potential is very much there. Diablo is not stacked. Phoenix puts out a decent amount of damage. Zeratul, however, does not. ALEXSTRAZZA, unless she wants to use Dragon Queen very early. There are some ways to play into this. Dragon Queen does, you have to wait to use it though.
The hold on the camp from Van, while the rest of the team clears out the sappers from ENDEMIC. Doing
June
what they
came
could.
over for the globe, making sure that he gets that globe for that level 1.
Didn't get the clear. ENDEMIC appropriately came back down to defend that, but it lets them clear these out and then have the later setup for this. Our first altar phase, which will be happening in a minute still, is going to be the first altar phase, which makes it a triple, and it'll be in mid and then the 2 top. And having the global of Dahaka does give Tempo Storm slight advantage there. Even having a pseudo-global with Zeratul off the minimap might be something that they can use and take advantage of in the form of harassment or concern, maybe trying to get a pick on someone like Kier in that top lane.
Well, Biggie said, I'm not afraid of the dive burst, and I sure as heck aren't afraid of Zeratul on me. With Tranquility and the bunker, that might be enough. So he's going into the higher health pool. The Behemoth armor, you start still 250, and then every time that Give 'em some pepper comes in onto a hero, you get even more health every time you use that on a hero. So important for Biggie to stack that up to give himself a higher base health pool to survive in these games.
We'll see how that works out for him, though. We have seen a lot of different people play that before. No, it seems like the general trend is to have fight or flight with the armor. Not only armor, but the cooldown reduction that you get from your Adrenaline Rush too.
The trade out is not there.
Stock.
They get 1 interrupt and the stock down to force a 5 versus 4 in favor of Tempo, and they have ENDEMIC split. That will be Tempo Storm taking the early lead. Was that Dragon Queen I saw there as well?
The Dragon Queen stock down. They had stalled out Blaze. There was no way for ENDEMIC. The best case scenario was just leaving and not dying there because so much was used by Tempo Storm to get that. But Tempo Storm do get it, which gives them a 4 core health advantage. Nothing to sneeze at, but every little bit counts.
Continuing their pressure on the camps. Blaze is in trouble mid. He's going to get flipped back over. There's a stun. B-Kid comes in with the blind. The heal, is it enough? Van trying to get there, and there is the long-range auto from Ven confirming the kill. Tempo Storm. There's 1. That's 1 incremental increase. There's going to be another soon. That actually forced the rotation of Malfurion to the top lane just to try and soak up missed XP.
Kier's got to be careful when he's looking at those rotations because that's something that Tempo Storm can keep up at all points in this game. Between the slows of Ven, giving crucial time for extra damage, and Zeratul sharking around looking for those kills, Kier has to be careful. They're going to look for this again. Kier only gets 1 jet propulsion, so he has to make it count. Uses it over to the side, trying to get to the other side of this. Look at these body blocks. They're incredible by Tempo Storm.
That's insane. That is pressure getting to you. So for a lot of people, you said pseudo-global with Zeratul. Just because you don't see him doesn't mean he's not there. He can be everywhere and he can be nowhere. And speaking of being somewhere, Glaurung comes in with the Brush Stalker. 2 members just now coming back from the base. That is another channel for Tempo Storm. Increment number 2 as the lead stretches to about 3/4 of a lead.
There's one altar left, and ENDEMIC really wants to get this because they are set behind. They will be dealing with talent tier advantages unless they can do something, make a big move to catch this game back up in experience. But Tempo Storm just play this safely. They have a lot of people who can stall. They're gonna slam into a wall. It's gonna stop him from being able to get the overpower out, but this is not over yet. Drag hits, Nature's Cure keeps Big Impact alive, but with the Dragon Queen and a knockback, Tempo Storm and just delaying this out. If they can, Fan goes back up to Soap. They're looking for their 10 if they can. ENDEMIC makes one last push to try to get a kill before that 10 hits. Can they do it? This damage that Vin's doing from the side, bringing down both Big Impact and JOHANNA, and finally, ENDEMIC concedes the point, chased all the way down.
That level 1 talent was the only reason Malfurion got. You could just see like the breeze trails because he's going so fast. That will be at level 13 in 2 weeks. But because of that long skirmish, Blaze never found his way back to the top. He could not soak. They tried to get their experience back through team fighting. They did not get 10. So now more control lost in this game as it's 36-24.
I tell you what, I bet Tempo Storm can feel the cheers of Octalysis right now that they have amassed this kind of lead. 36-24 is the core, but a level lead too as ENDEMIC hits their heroic abilities. They need to get those, and they need to start making things happen. They do not want to fall behind, and it's Towers of Doom. You can always make the miracle comeback happen, but nobody wants to hit that, so they're going to fire in. We have the Void Prison with the Lightning Breath going to Michael Udall. Gets on the other end of that, starts to heal them back up. This looks good for ENDEMIC. They might be able to get this kill. Burrow, though, is going to let Adaptation come through with all the healing in the world. It's not enough to save Dahaka.
Wow, that amount of single target damage onto that, because that adaptation healed him to what seemed like full, but he kept getting damaged and damaged and damaged, and then the essence came in and they were able to burst him down through that damage. So the focus control there. Also, Greymane going Wizened Duelist has not died, so he's sitting at 12 stacks, and he will continue to put out more of that single target damage because that is auto attack damage that comes in. And so they did fight their way back. That brought them back an experience. They do find themselves at the neutral position of these double altar phases here. They already invaded once. Will they feel confident enough? Do they feel pressured enough to push in, or will we get a simple trade?
Cattle's asking himself that same thing as he sits in the bush here anchoring. ENDEMIC have not a lot of heroic abilities back yet, like the setup with a Blessed Shield, but they do have Cursed Bullet, and that is going to be pivotal in being able to get kills on someone like Dahaka with the adaptation, now that we've seen it twice from Glowering, or Diablo